So today in this video, I'm going to be talking about which free 5-star you should choose in the version 2.7 of Honkai Star Rail. As we all know, in the 2.7 of Honkai Star Rail, we are going to get a free 5-star selector from the standard banner, and I'll be telling you which one you should pick for your future-proof account. For veteran players, for newer players, especially for newer players, and for the veterans as well. Veterans are familiar with it, but as a veteran of as myself, playing since day one, so I'm going to share a little bit of my experience and my perspective regarding which one you should pick. So if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and like the video, and let's begin. So the first and foremost, if I had to pick between Bronya, Bailu, Gepard, Welt, we have Bailu, Bronya, Yangxing. I don't think I have Yangxing on this account, but yeah, we have a lot of characters and from the standards. As let me pull it from here. Over here, we have a lot of characters. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 characters. All right, we have 7 characters over here. Okay, so for me, I think my honest pick. Okay, first of all, I'm gonna talk about which one you should skip. So let's start with the skipping part. You should never pick Yangxing. Never pick Yangxing. Never do that mistake. Whether you like the character really much, or because Yangxing has a lot of problems. Yangxing has a lot of problems on his kit. His kit is basically, there's a fixed chance of doing follow-up attack, and that actually makes Yangxing a very niche character. And I would not recommend in a million, trillion, freaking 1,000, 10,000 years to pick Yangxing, okay? Do not pick this character. Because if you pick this character, you might rather just fucking delete your account. Alright? Okay, let's start with the next one. Next one, I would not recommend picking up Welt. Welt, I would not recommend picking up unless you have E2 Welt. Or you have E3 Welt, if you never had Welt, I would not recommend picking up, going for Welt. The reason why it is because Welt is very niche at E0. He's basically unplayable at E0. The amount of time it takes him to get his skill, his ultimate fill up, it takes fucking almost 2 cycles, okay? It almost take 2 cycles to get his ultimate filled up. At E0, he's fucking unplayable. I would not recommend ever in million years to go for Welt. Unless you have E1 or E2 Welt. Unless you have E1 Welt and you want to go with E2 Welt, I would recommend going for him. But E1, if you have already E0 Welt, you can go for E1. E1 is basically really good. It increases his skill damage multiplier by 80%, which is really nice. I would say if you never had Welt, if you've never had the Welt, I would not recommend going for Welt. Unless you have E0 Welt, you can go for his E1. Welt is very good character, but like I said, if you have Welt, go for E1. If you never had a Welt copy ever in your life, I would not recommend going for a single copy of Welt. Unless you already have Welt and you're planning for going for either E1 or either E2, then you can definitely go for it. If you have E2 Welt, I would not recommend going for E3. But yeah, that's about it. I think Welt is really good at around E2. E6 is pretty busted, but E2 is more than enough, I feel like. So that's about it for Welt. Let's see who else we have. Gepard. Gepard, I would not recommend going for Gepard. See, the thing with Gepard is Gepard is pretty much power crept. He got pretty much power crept by Fushuan, Aventurine. He's basically non-existent in the entire game. So I would not recommend going for Gepard. As part is, I would say it would be very foolish move. Even if you really like this character, going for this character does not make any sense. So I highly do not recommend choosing Gepard. If you are a huge Gepard fan and you don't care about the meta, do not pick him because it's not worth it. Trust me. Do not pick Gepard. You are rather just going good with the limited 5-star preservation character because they're really good. Yeah. So okay. The last one I would say that I would not recommend is going for Bailu. The thing with the Bailu is a bit complicated. The situation with Bailu is a bit complicated, but here's why. Unless you are really heaven with Bailu, and you lost a lot of 50-50s on Bailu, and you have, let's just say you have E3 Bailu, you can actually go for E4 Bailu, and you can use it with Acheron. E4 Bailu is actually really good. I would say, out of all of Bailu constellation, I think Bailu's E4 is really good. So if you have an E3 Bailu, you can actually go for E4 Bailu and pick Bailu, because E4 Bailu is actually really good, from what I've heard. So if you have E3 Bailu, if anyone have E3 Bailu, you can definitely go and choose E4 Bailu. Yeah, and if you never had Bailu, if you don't have E3 Bailu or E2 or E1 or E0, do me a favor, just skip this character. Do not even consider to pick this character. Okay, all right, we're done with Bailu. Okay, now here comes the section that I would really recommend you to pick. Okay, Clara. Clara is an insane character. If you really invest on this character, I think this character, Clara, has always been my favorite. I feel like at the start of, like, I remember when I lost 50-50 during Sile when I had 1.0 at Clara, I was very frustrated, but I was really sad. But at the same time, I was like, man, when I started using Clara, I was like so happy because I really like the Swarog and the Clara, how Swarog protects Clara most of the times during combat. It's really sweet. It's really fun. And I really like Clara. Clara is really good, and she really does get better with Eidolons. So I would highly recommend Clara. I would definitely can safely say Clara is a good pick, in my opinion. Because if you have an E0 Clara, you can actually go... because, see, the thing with Clara, if you're lacking... Let's just say you don't have a physical... You don't have boat tail, you don't have Yinlin, and you want a physical carry, you can definitely safely go for Clara. Because the reason why I'm suggesting Clara, because Clara can dish out a lot of amount of damage, especially her Swarog. Her Swarog marks the enemy and does a lot of damage from the skill. And Clara, it's basically a damage reduction DPS carry. She follows the path of destruction, and she is physical. And physical are really good. Physical element is really good when you invest a lot on it. You have to invest a lot on physical characters. They're really insane. Physical characters in Honkai Star Rail are amazing. And the thing with the Clara is that Clara gets better and better with Eidolons. So E1 is really good. If you have an E0 Clara, I would highly recommend going for E1 or E2. E1 and E2 are really good. E4 is also really good, and E6. Definitely, all of the Clara's Eidolons are amazing. So I can definitely recommend going. If you are lacking, the number one reason is if you don't have a physical carry, you can definitely go for Clara. If you don't have a Clara, a single copy, I would not recommend, because Clara at E0 is kind of okayish. She's not that good. But if you have an E0 Clara, I highly recommend going for E1 or either E2. If you have E1 or E2, you can definitely go pick it up. Or if you have E3, you can definitely make it E4. All right. So that's it with the Clara. Now we're going to talk about Himeko. Himeko, I highly recommend Himeko. Himeko, I can recommend her any day, anytime. Himeko is really good at Pure Fiction. She's also good at Super Break Team, the Break Team meta that is going on right now. I'm sure the break meta will go away after 3.0 version. But Himeko is really good, especially with Harta. If you pair her with Harta in the Pure Fiction, she does a lot of damage. Pure Fiction, Himeko is the goddess. Okay, she's the goddess. So if you never had Himeko, I would highly recommend going for Himeko. If you already have Himeko, then I could say you can go for her E1 and E2, especially her E1. Her E1 is really good. E2 is kind of okay, but yeah, her E1 and her E6 are really good. So if you have an E0 Himeko, you can go for E1 Himeko. All right, Himeko, I highly recommend. Definitely go for it if you want to clear out your Pure Fiction. I highly recommend going for Himeko. I highly recommend it. All right, now the number one character that I would recommend over any other character. This is the number one priority. Okay, Bronya is one of the best character in the standard banner. Out of all the standard characters that have been, Bronya has always been the dominant, most consistent character. Bronya is an S tier character, like a S tier kind of unit, who is still standing till this day, ever since 1.0. So things will change after Sunday comes. Sunday will power creep Bronya almost. He's gonna power creep. Everyone is aware of that. But Bronya lasted for over a year, and this character people are still gonna use it even after getting Sunday, because Bronya just is so good. The thing with the Bronya is that she is insanely good. She buffs your team, your ally. She buffs You know, at the start of the battle, all allies defense increases for 20% for 2 turn, and she buffs your all allies 10% more damage to the all if whoever is on the field. When Bronya is on the field, all allies get 10% more damage. Bronya is just so good. Like, she increases a character attack and crit damage, and she can dispels one debuff from a single from a DPS. You know, it's so good. Bronya is so good, and she just gets better with her constellation, her Eidolons. My bad. Mean to say Eidolons or constellations. Her Eidolon. If you never had a Bronya, I would highly recommend going for Bronya. Bronya is a must pull. She is a must for your account. Okay. If you have E0 Bronya and you have been waiting for the E1, I would highly recommend going for Bronya. Is your number one priority. If you have E0 Bronya and you have been stuck for almost over a year now, you're finally going to have some breather, have some relief. You're going to unlock E1. E1 is a beast. It can recover 1 skill point. There's a 50% fixed chance to recover 1 skill point. When Bronya uses her skill, 50% fixed chance of recovering 1 skill point, and it has 1 turn cooldown. This is the most busted Eidolon in Bronya, and that's why a lot of people wants to prioritize getting E1 Bronya at any cost at possible. So E1 Bronya, definitely. If you already have E1 Bronya, you can actually go for E2 Bronya. E2 Bronya is actually really good. Every time Bronya uses her skill, the target ally speed increases by 30% after taking their action for lasting for 1 turn, which is really good, I feel like. E4 Bronya does follow-up attack. E6 Bronya damage boost by the skill on the target line increases by 1 turn, which is like double damage, basically technically like double damage. So Bronya's E1, E4, all of our Bronya's Eidolon, even 3-5, like every Eidolon of Bronya is fucking insane. Okay, so Bronya, I highly recommend going for. I highly recommend if you don't have this character, go for it. If you already have E2 Bronya, you can just pick another copy. Like, Bronya is just worth it. Just worth it. Trust me. Alright, so that's it. That will be for my video. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.